the host of the Gridiron.
All right. Welcome to the Gridiron, baby. If you can give this video a thumbs up or maybe share this video for me, that would be absolutely freaking phenomenal. I really appreciate it. If you subscribe to my channel, thank you. If not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way next time I go live or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. It's totally free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you are subscribed, thank you. If you want to help support my channel out, the description box below, right, like one of the top links, very top link maybe in the description box, takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. Each one has their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. And then finally, also just below that link, there's another link. Takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, The Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. We have over 9,500 members in the group. It's doing simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing and if I got internet access, I'm putting stuff in this group darn near 365. It's called the New York Giants, The Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You will not be dissatisfied. I promise. All right. Well, a lot to talk about here. Unfortunately, a lot has to do with injuries. Shocking, but there might be a reason behind that. Maybe a little reason behind that, right? But let's start off with, of course, I never, liked this option, period. Obviously, some people, obviously when, want Daboll and Schoen gone and all of that stuff and everything. And, and want him to be replaced with maybe, Belichick. There's tons of other coaches out there and all and everything. But so you can pretty much, obviously cross off Belichick as far as, even if, Schoen or Daboll, does wind up getting canned, Schoen and or, right? Because he went back home. Well, was where his father started. I think it was 1953 to 55. I think he was in North Carolina. So he basically what he was saying is he kind of went back home. He said, the thing with that is, it's a lot different of a game. As far as coaching and all that, because there you got to recruit, you got to bring guys in, right? And you're dealing with younger men, right? As far as older, like that, grizzled veterans and all that stuff. So it's just a little different there. Apparently, I think it says in this article here, he was taking over a program. I think it was 6 and 6. I think once again, I think it says it in the article. So it's not like a total rip down, rebuild, whatever, and I'm sure, they got to realize, he's not going to be there for 15 years. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure, he's going to, a lot of work. I was in, I think 74. I didn't kind of wonder why he's even kind of going back. It's not easy. But I think he said something also is that, I think his father brought it up. It's like if you do something you love, you never work. And so at 74, I don't know. I'm not saying go out and just start playing golf and everything like that, but I kind of figured there'd be something a little less, I don't know. That takes a little less wear and tear off your body and the stress and all that and everything. I guess I'm sure he signed a nice little contract, maybe so many years. He's guaranteed maybe so many years. Even if he gets fired, he's still guaranteed money and all that and everything. But I mean, he's going back, pretty much someplace. You should pull up a little video here, and we'll show you about kind of pretty much about as far back, okay, as he's gone in the pros. It's quite a ways. So I'm going to pull up a little video here. I'm going to talk about it, and it sends chills because it brings me back to I'm 60. Okay, so this video takes you back when I was a kid. I was 11. I was 49 years ago. That's a long time ago. I'm 60. And in this video, I was 11. Okay? You can imagine how much hair I had back then, right? But I'm going to take you back to a video. If I can share my screen here. And I'm going to share screen. I gotta get it up here. Hope this is the right one. Nope, that's not it. This. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Okay. There we go. Share my screen, and I'll do some talking. Right. So, boom. So here we go. All right. So let me make sure. Okay. Good. All right. Good. So. This is the 1975 Baltimore Colts. There's a young lad, shall we say, who's standing on the sideline there. And I'm going to play this video, and you'll be able to see the young lad. But right now, what's going on is, and we're going to hit you up with an old name, the Baltimore Colts. Oh yeah, Baltimore. When to me, I'm an old fart, so you got to forgive me. But when the name was cool. I mean, they go to Indianapolis. It's like, get the out of here. I mean, you just killed me. You just straight up fucking killed me with the Indianapolis Colts. To me, it's Baltimore. It's always been Baltimore. Will always be Baltimore. Johnny Unitas and all that. Growing up as a kid, it's Baltimore Colts. It's outside in the dirt. They got wind and dirt and mud. That's football. What they got now going on, that's not football to me. Once again, I apologize. I'm an old fart. Okay. But so this particular game here is, I believe they said it was the second to last game of the season. 1975 Baltimore Colts. They were playing the Miami Dolphins. It's in Baltimore. The game is tied at 7. It's going in overtime, and their head coach Ted Marchibroda is talking to his squad. Right, this is just before overtime's going to start, and he's talking to his squad. But what we're going to do is I'll play this, and we'll start. Let's see, is this it right here? Okay. I'm going to start. You'll be able to hear the coach talking. Let me turn the volume down a little. I'll leave it the way it is. But you're going to hear the coach talking. But I'm going to also start, circling a young lad's head. And when the video's over, you'll be able to see the young lad's face. But right now, all you'll be able to see is the young lad's. The kind of thing, it's the back of his head. You'll be able to see his brown hair. All right. So I'm going to turn the volume down a little bit here, and you'll be able to hear the coach talk. So I'm not sure how long this video is, but so I'm going to let the coach talk here for just a second or two.
Again, remember now, the first score wins. Now, man, first score.
All right. So that's the coach right there, Ted Marchibroda. He said, First score wins, guys. First score wins, right? It says overtime. It's not the way it was nowadays, where every team's got to get their hands on the ball. I think that's fair. I like that. The way it is now, that I do like. Back then, it was, if the first team gets the ball and they go into a field goal range and they kick a field goal, the game's over. I get it. That's sudden death, you know. But I think it's a little fairer the way it is now. But anyway, so the coach is there talking, and he's talking to the group. But right over here, see these young lads, see this brown hair right here. Okay, I think you know where I'm going, who this is here. Okay, so we'll let the coach talk a little bit more.
110% from everybody now. Damn it, the ball's in our hands.
Okay, you know, get the ball 100%, 110%, guys. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, everybody's freaking out and all and everything. And then the young lad here turns around and you get a shot at him. This just happens to be a freak that he's in this video and all that stuff and everything. There you go. There you are. I do believe the 25-year-old Bill Belichick. There he is right there. He was making $25 a week. This is 1975. He was just an assistant. He was an assistant running back coach, assistant water boy. He was just an assistant. Like I think he said $25 a week. And he just happened to be in this huddle here. I mean, he's right by the coach. He's an assistant. You know, all the players should be right by the coach and all, but nope, he's right up there. He's listening. Okay, he's listening to Ted Marchibroda give his speech before overtime starts. So this is 1975. This is his first year in the NFL with the Baltimore Colts. Yeah, I mean, holy cow. Let me see here. Stop sharing. There we go. And that was Bill Belichick. The next couple of years, he was with Detroit. He was, the heck was he? You gotta look on Wikipedia. I think he was a assistant special teams coach. 76, 77. He wound up being, I think, like the tight end coach or something. I forgot. You look on Wikipedia. And obviously, shortly after that, he wound up joining the Giants, right? And then, of course, as they say, the rest is history. But that's Bill Belichick, 1975. That's how long ago. That's his first year, right, in the NFL. As an assistant, just $25 a week. Here, caters a 20 and a 5. Go, right? So, of course, now he's writing his own ticket, pretty much where he wants to go, this, that, and the other thing. So, you know, times have changed. But, you know, obviously with him, you know, one of the things, as I'm going to read, is a short article, but, you know, just looking at the situation, you know, with the Giants, it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of, I don't know if it's a total rebuild or anything like that, but, you know, it needs some pieces. It needs a quarterback. And I don't know if one thing he, you know, kind of figured out that you kind of notice once Brady left, I mean, the first year with Mac Daddy Jones there, I think they did okay. I think they had a winning record, New England, but then it was just kind of like, you know, they had Zappy in there and Mac Jones, and it was just kind of like, things weren't going so well as Mayo is finding out this year. You know, it's kind of tough, although they do seem to have their quarterback in the future, so good for them, right? But one of the things is that, you know, he's being 74 years old. The Giant, it would require some time, some years. You know, I mean, you're not just going to grab Tom Brady, throw him in there, and boom, you're a Super Bowl contender. No, it's going to take years. And the thing is, here, it's like even with where he's at, right, going to in college right now. How many years is he going to be there? A few. So who knows? But let me read this article here. All right. One thing it says, report reveals why Bill Belichick wasn't interested in potential Giants opening. The University of North Carolina will officially announce Bill Belichick as their next head coach on Thursday, which is an unforeseen destination for one of the NFL's all-time greatest coaches. After a year away from the game, expectations were that Belichick would draw significant interest during the upcoming coaching carousel. And then once again, as always, there's always at least, 6, 7, 8 coaching opportunities, right? Among the teams speculated to have potential interest in Belichick was the Giants, assuming they move on from Daboll and or general manager Joe Schoen after the season. Belichick has never been shy about his being in love with the Giants, for the Mara family and the Giants, the franchise, and all that, where he served as an assistant coach and coordinator from '79 to 1990. Despite his 2 crushing Super Bowl losses to the Giants, he always spoke highly of the organization and its former players, much to the dismay of his own players. But even Ed Belichick opted to wait for Black Monday to gauge potential opportunities. Seth Wickersham of ESPN reports that the Giants were never going to be in play. Maybe the Giants, where he had spent the 80s, where he had spent the 80s could work, but Belichick knew that it would be a rebuild with the New York press at his heels. Plus, he believes the team would do best to retain its current coach, Brian Daboll. Yes, the seemingly permanent rebuild in East Rutherford. Yeah. The reset button has been hit so many times that everyone has lost count, and even Belichick's love of the organization couldn't overcome the reality of what he would have gotten himself into. But again, there is no guarantee that opportunity would have even presented itself. While the Giants have become a complete laughingstock, co-owners John Mara and Steve Tisch appear resistant to further change, fearing they have grown too impatient in recent years. Accordingly, expectations remain, at least as of Week 15, that both Schoen and Daboll return in 2025, while Belichick leads the Tar Heels. So, it's obviously, I'm sure it's just a straight up kind of a combination of the two things. I don't know. We certainly have there's pieces in place here. They have to find his quarterback. And if he doesn't find his quarterback in this draft or whatever, then he'd have to find a bridge quarterback. Then he'd have to find a quarter. He's at 74 years. If we were talking 60 or 64, something like that, and possibly we might be talking something along those lines. But I said 74 years old. My goodness, how obviously you realize it's going to take even if the Giants do find their quarterback, it would still take, I'm sure, a couple of years, to get a nice rebuild going on here. Plus, he would be coming in, and some of these guys he may not want. So he might have to, get rid of some, bring some in. And then the other thing, too, is if he came in and he was just the coach, he's used to being the whole kit and caboodle. He's used to being the coach, the GM, and if, he's the coach and he's not the GM, he's got to work with Shane. And, that could rub some feathers the wrong way. So, it's just obviously, to me anyway, obviously it's, if they do get rid of Daboll, I don't think they will. But if they do, I think the Belichick thing is just, as I said, if this was, I don't even want to say that, maybe 5 years ago, he may be 69 now, 5 years. It just, and obviously if he's coming to New York, if he's replacing a coach, usually the reason why is because they suck. So it would take some time. As I said, you can also see, when he was with New England and he didn't have a quarterback, he didn't do too good, He did good in New England when, he had Bledsoe, and then he had, for a little period of time, but then he had some guy by the name of Brady. And all the years he had Brady, he did pretty good, didn't he? But then once Brady was gone, Belichick didn't do so well. Almost like the last year or so, he was almost like not a total laughingstock, but he was almost kind of comical. The team was not very good. He needs a quarterback, so it is what it is. But I wish him nothing but the best of luck. But I never thought the Belichick thing would be a good idea, bringing a coach here. All right, then I got this here. So this is Giants and the Jets' most futile. Their combined record since 1960. Now, obviously, that's as far back as you can go, because that's when the Jets entered. Actually, it was the New York Titans back then. That's when, obviously, the Jets, or the Titans, shall I say, entered the AFL. That's when the AFL started in 1960. So that's as far back as you can go with these two teams and combining their records. The Giants in 1960, they played 12 games. I believe they were 6-4-2 that year. They lost a couple tough games to the Eagles. The Eagles wound up winning the East. I don't know if it was the Eastern. I guess it was Conference or whatever it was called back then. But obviously the Eagles won, and they wound up winning the championship over the Vince Lombardi Green Bay Packers, 17-13. That was Vince Lombardi's only playoff loss. He wound up going. He was 9-1. That was his only loss ever. Very good. I'm not going to go into the details of the game, but that was a very, very, very good game. Not that I saw it in person or anything, but So the Giants and Jets, they've had some pretty putrid records over the seasons, but so far as of right now, their winning percentage is the worst. So going all the way back. So, it's 65 years. Now, of course, if the Jets were to win a game, or, I don't think the Giants are winning this weekend, but I mean, if the Giants were to win a game at their final 4 games or so, obviously the winning percentage goes up, but they've had some putrid records between the two of them, and this is the worst. Right, this is the worst. The Giants have 2 wins, the Jets have 3. Now, I mean, to have the Giants with 2 wins, this far into the season it would be shocking, right? Shocking, right? If you think about last season, the injuries and all that, of course, the injuries did them in here, right? But I'd be totally shocked if you just told me that after 13 games, they only had 2 wins. I'm like, no way. Come on, man. Right? But the one thing that's even a little bit more shocking would be the Jets. Okay? That's a little, they had playoff aspirations. They had aspirations of going toe-to-toe, right, with the Bills. All right? Because the Jets had the defense. It's a little bit missing in action some of these games, but they also got, if Aaron Rodgers stayed healthy, and he stayed healthy, right? So they had good offense. Got some receivers. They got the running back. They got the quarterback, right? And they only won 3 games. That's a real. Obviously the Giants, their record is bad enough. But it's just with the Jets, it's just like, wow, they only have 3 wins. Wow, that's a real shocker. But if we go here to the Jets and Giants feudal seasons lead to the worst record since 1960. Worst combined record between the two since the start, because that's when the Titans entered the league in 1960. Obviously, the Giants came in 1925, but. So the New York, New Jersey area offers many attractions, everything from Broadway to the Jersey Shore to famous landmarks on both sides of the Hudson River. Suffice it to say, the Chamber of Commerce hot list doesn't include the local football teams, not this year anyway. The Giants and the Jets have endured some pretty bad seasons, but this one is uniquely dreadful. Based on combined winning percentage, it's the worst season for the New York City area since the Jets, first known as the Titans, joined the Giants on the local scene in 1960. Obviously, the Giants are 2-11, the Jets are 3-10. Do the math. That's a 192 winning percentage. So basically, what are they? 5-21. My God. There have been many clunkers over the years, most notably the 1976, Joe Namath's final season with the Jets. 1977, he went to the Rams. That was his final season ever. He only played in the first, I think, 3, 4, maybe 5 games of the season, and then he was benched. I can't remember. It was a Monday night game against the Bears. I don't know if he threw like 5 interceptions. He just couldn't throw the ball anymore. With I think his hamstrings and his knees and all that, he just could not throw the football. He could throw the football, he's just not accurate. He did a horrible, horrible job. So that Joe Namath going to the Rams in '77 is supposed to be something big, and it just wound up being a huge mistake. Anyway, so 1996 was another rough as the Giants went 6-10, and the Jets bottomed out at 1-15. So you have so in '96, so the Giants had 6 wins and the Jets had 1. So that's 7. Let's say. Then I'd say 1976, both teams went 3-11. So both teams wanted with combined total of 6 wins. So far this year, they only have 5. But of course, then in 1976, they only played 14 games. We could go on and on, but you get the point. This isn't a new phenomenon. Only 3 years ago, both teams stumbled to a 4-13 record, prompting Joe Judge's ouster from the Giants, their third head coach firing in a 4-year span. Last time the Giants and Jets both posted winning records was in 2010, when the coaches were Tom Coughlin and Rex Ryan, respectively. There will be no winning records this season in the New York metropolitan area, but maybe they can avoid the indignity of the worst New York season ever by coming up with 3 more wins between the 2 of them. I mean, that's possible. What in the name of Sam Darnold is going on with these teams? I mean, you got, Sam Darnold came, obviously drafted by the Jets, right? And, he was here and he just didn't seem to bloom or blossom. And then he goes someplace else. He went to a couple other places, but then he goes to Minnesota. He's like, man, the guy looks pretty good. I mean, the Minnesota's defense is good. I believe they're still relatively healthy. I haven't followed the health of all the teams and all that and everything. Obviously, health has a lot to do with it. But, I mean, it's like, so it has right here. Obviously, this season so far, the 2 teams are 5-21, winning percentage of 192. 1976 was the second worst, right? Both teams were 3-11. They finished with a 214 winning percentage. Now with the Giants, that was the year of the new Giants Stadium opened up. In 75, they were at Shea Stadium. So 76, they started off the season. Actually, they started off the season, I believe, 0-9, but they started off 0-7. I believe the 7th game of the season was when they lost to the defending Super Bowl champion Pittsburgh Steelers at Giant Stadium, 27-0. Bill Arnsparger, their coach at the time, when the Giants were 0-7, he got canned. They brought in McVay, and he coached the Giants for the next 2.5 seasons, up until and through the Miracle of the Meadowlands after 78 season. But in 76, they actually started off 0-9. McVay took over. They lost, I believe, their first 2 games, and then when they were 0-9, they finally won their first game of the season. So Arnsparger had them 0-7, and they only played 14 games in 1976. I'm talking about the Giants. So the last 7 games, McVay comes in, and he has them. They get a 3-4 record. With back then for the Giants in those 7, I mean, they went 7 games and they won 3. It's like, whew, oh my God, that was like a miracle, right? But I mean, there's been a couple other ones. They're talking about the 1996 season. The 2 teams combined for 7-25, a 219 winning percentage. 1973 is 6. There was 6-21-1, a 232 winning percentage. Now that year the Giants were 2-11-1. 73. That's when they were in Yankee Stadium, and then they got kicked out of there. Yankee Stadium was rebuilding. That's when they went to the Yale Bowl. The Giants actually started that season 1-0-1. They beat the Houston Oilers because they were called the Houston Oilers back then, 34-14. Then the second game of the season, 1973, the Giants tied the Eagles at Yankee Stadium 23-23 in the last second Pete Gogolak field goal. That was the last game the Giants ever played at Yankee Stadium. Giants were 1-0-1, but then they finished the rest of the season at the Yale Bowl, and they finished 1-11 their last 12 games of the season, but the Jets were not very good that year either. So those two teams in 73 combined for a 232 winning percentage. And then in 2021, obviously Judge's last season, the two teams combined to go 8-26 for a 235 winning percentage. But so far this season, right, this is the only season combined, thank God, right, where both teams combining winning percentages under 200. I mean, it's just horrible, absolutely horrible. I mean, you'll notice I said the last, like 2021 and 2024, there was 2 bad years there, a couple of bad years in the 70s. And basically from 76 to 2021, there was only one bad season in there, and that was the one year the Giants wound up winning 6 games, but the Jets the Jets were 1-15. I mean, that was absolutely horrible. They talk about here. Let's see here. Talk about the Giants. Giants made it public that their desire to replace Daniel Jones in the draft during their appearance on Hard Knocks. Then Jones, coming off a torn right ACL, looked like a shell of his former self, and apparent his relationship with Brian Daboll had eroded. Jones' struggles eventually led to him being benched and later cut at the request after he stepped in as a scout team safety in practice. He even stepped in. Bob Papa, I mean, this is just such an absolute freaking joke. Bob Papa, I guess, was there looking at it or whatever. He was like kind of standing there in the position. He wasn't running sideline to sideline, making tackles, knocking away passes, calling out signals, coming up to the line, faking a blitz, coming up, popping somebody. He wasn't. He was just standing there. According to what Bob Papa said. Anyway, it's like so overblown, and I believe he asked to do that too, right? So that, of course, then the Giants turned to Tommy DeVito and Drew Lock. The spark that never ignited. He got hurt. They went to Drew Lock and stuck with him, even when DeVito was healthy, and even that seemed logical. And of course, that's the Jack Wagon Jordan Renan. I don't like that guy. He's a jack. I can't stand that guy. But this is on a historical level here with the teams being bad. Now you can also, like with the Jets, is like Rodgers. I said I don't want to flux too much Jets into this, but I mean Rodgers says he said the Jets is his. If he does play next year, the Jets would be his first operative. Be his first choice, I guess. Well, I don't even know if the Jets even want the guy back. I mean, has he lit the place on fire this year or anything like that? I mean, the GM's gone, the coach is gone. I mean, it's just like turmoil ever since he's been there. I mean, so I don't even know if the Jets would even want him back. And new coach come in, new GM, they might want to go their own way. So I mean, both these teams are looking quite possibly for their own quarterbacks of the future, quite possibly. Now, as it sits right now, the Jets are kind of like on the outside looking in as far as maybe getting one of the top 2 quarterbacks now. Yeah, so who knows? There'll be some bridge quarterbacks out there available in free agency, but both these teams really need quarterback. I mean, even if Rodgers were to stick around for another year or so, I mean, he does not look the same Rodgers. They're going to need a quarterback somewhere along the line. Right. I mean, but both these, it's just an absolute laughing stock. And it's a shame because when you see on your schedule, the other teams see on their schedule, they're going to MetLife Stadium. Like, that's a W. Yeah. It's just really, really an embarrassment. But talking about quarterbacks. So, I did when I do a video, was it a couple days ago? I guess it was to obviously open up, I guess, I don't know, my big mouth or whatever. Yeah, Drew Lock's a starter. I think it also said in the article too, if he's healthy. That's what Daboll said, right? Because he was feeling sore and all of that. So if he was healthy, he would be the starter. But Apparently he's not healthy anymore. So because now Tommy DeVito's going back. It was almost kind of thing, same way it was last year when obviously Daniel Jones got hurt. They had Taylor come in there, and Jones came back, and then he got knocked out. They bypassed they bypassed Taylor, and then put Cutlets in there, and then Taylor came back in, and it was just a mess. Same thing this year. I mean, we had Daniel Jones. He stayed healthy, right? But then you had that Tommy Cutlets in there. Then you had Drew Lock in there. Then obviously you had Tommy Cutlets, right? Then he got injured. Then you put Drew Lock in there. He's in there for a couple games. Then he gets injured. Now you got Tommy Cutlets going back in there again. Then you have Boyle trying to get up to speed. Kafka was talking about him. They're just trying to do the best he can to get up to speed. But it could be like an absolute nightmare if something happens and Boyle's got to go in there. Oh my goodness. Because we're going to go over here in a minute. And there could be a little bit of reasoning behind my next story. Okay, but let's go over this Tommy Chicken Cutlet Parmesan thing here. It's really this is take the ball by the horn. Do something. The one thing is that he didn't score any points against the Bucs. He scored 5. Second half, he did okay, but we were down 23-0 at halftime. You scored 7 freaking points. You're down. You don't score any points by halftime. Everybody just pack up and just go home. That way nobody gets hurt. Nobody gets their feelings hurt. Just Harbaugh and Daboll to shake hands. Hey, Coach Harbaugh, you're beating us 87-0 halftime. All right, we're out of here, brother. Best of luck. Just go home. But this is, he go out. I don't mean throw 13 interceptions, but throw it. Sometimes, as I said, sometimes it's really good because it seems like he's really trying to protect the ball and all. Which is good. You don't want to be the reason why you lost the game. But then again, he's part of the reason why they're not winning the game either. Part of the reason why he looks good is because he's not throwing interceptions. Part of the reason why he's not looking good, is because he's not throwing interceptions. Maybe he's the guy's got to be open. I'm going to throw it. Sometimes with Eli, he would just go back there, and the guy, he would trust the guy, and the guy's supposed to be there. That's where it's going. The guy's not looking. The guy's not even into his break yet. This, that. He's got 3 guys around him, but I'm trusting he's going to be there. The ball's going. That's Eli. He's slinging, right? Tommy, on the other hand, is like, no, he's got a guy over him. He's got a guy behind. He's not into his break yet. If I throw it, and he's not looking. Let me hold on to it. Throw the ball. If you're trying to be cute and fancy this week, the stadium could be empty by halftime, literally. All right, so we got Tommy DeVito reacts to his second chance at the Giants starting job. Starting quarterback, obviously Daniel Jones, didn't make it through the season, benched after week 11 and released at his request. Tommy DeVito got the first crack at starting in his absence, but a forearm injury knocked him out for Thanksgiving. Like his predecessor, Drew Lock was also unsuccessful in his attempt to kickstart the offense. He too got hurt, a heel injury, relegating him back to the bench. So the quarterback job, once again, goes back to Tommy Chicken Cutlet Parmesan, who spoke about his return to the lineup on Wednesday. You always got to be ready for whatever happens, DeVito said. Obviously, it's been a little bit of a crazy situation this whole year with everything that's gone on. So there's almost no surprises at this point. You just got to stay ready. Whoever's out there, whatever number is going to be out there and ready to be called, we're going to go out there and support them. Right now, it's me. So I'm going to go out there and play for everybody in the locker room. DeVito's 2024 season hasn't looked much like his rise to cult hero status in 2023. Against the Bucs, he completed 21 to 31, 189 yards. Not bad, but he was like he had like absolutely nothing at halftime. And by the time halftime, we were down 23 to nothing. Right? I mean, it wasn't bad in the second half, right? But, unless he lit it up, by throwing like 4 touchdown passes or something, we were never coming back from a victory in that one. The offense was rudderless, created just 2 explosive plays, and didn't do much to inspire confidence in head coach Brian Daboll's decision to start him before Locke, who landed above DeVito on the depth chart. Now, DeVito has much to prove as he fights for his football life. I think it's just continuing just to prove to myself that I belong, DeVito said. Week 15 doesn't project to make life easier for him. The Baltimore Ravens will visit MetLife Stadium as the season's biggest favorites. Wow. Says 16-point favorites. Wow. 16 points after it was clear that DeVito was starting. So apparently the point spread went up. It was 14 or 14 and a half with Locke in there. But now with DeVito starting, wow, might have gone up to 16 points. Wow. Holy cow. So Tommy DeVito will start at quarterback on Sunday for the Giants. Tommy DeVito will start. Head coach Brian Daboll told reporters on Wednesday that Drew Lock, who started the last 2 games, is in a walking boot with a heel injury. Daboll had said on Monday that Drew Lock would be the quarterback this week unless he can't be based on if he was injured. If he was healthy, Drew Lock would be the quarterback. Well, based on injury, he obviously can't be. Daboll indicated he was uncertain Locke, who won't practice on Wednesday, would be well enough to serve as the backup quarterback on Sunday versus the Baltimore Ravens. If not, Tim Boyle would have to be elevated from the practice squad to serve as quarterback number 2. The Giants have played 3 games since benching an untimely wavering former starting quarterback Daniel Jones. Daboll made the questionable decision to bypass Locke, which is a little bit of a head scratcher to me. His number 2 quarterback for DeVito against the Buccaneers. The Giants obviously lost 30-7, and DeVito sustained a forearm injury that made Daboll turn to Locke. He started the next 2 games, which were 1-score losses to the Cowboys and the Saints. And now we'll be back to obviously DeVito. Now, of course, one of the part of the problems, obviously, maybe with some of these guys. Oh, what's up, buddy? Creative Solutions in the house, buddy. What's going on, brother? I mean, one of the problems, obviously, is that, obviously with the depleted offensive line, they wish they had Jones now. Yeah. Well, he always gave him the best chance to win, period. Right? But you'll notice here kind of what's kind of going on. They can maybe thank their lucky stars because, Jones is gone, right? But what's going on with these other quarterbacks, right? Get injured, right? That's one thing they did not want Jones to do, get injured, because if his injury made it where he couldn't pass a physical, I guess it was next season, they had a $23 million injury guarantee that they were going to have to pay. And that was going to go right against the cap, and that would really, so that's one of the reasons why, they try to like bubble wrap them and just like put them off to the side. Don't play no more, okay? And that's why. But you'll notice with DeVito with the forearm, now Locke with a heel. I mean, and then as I said, if Boyle might have to come in there if something goes wrong with DeVito. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Karma can be a bitch, if you know what I mean. Oh, yeah. I mean, if Boyle's got to go in there, oh, my goodness. Oh, wow. It's not looking good. Not looking good. But one of the reasons why some of these guys are also getting hit, getting hurt and all of that, possibly is because the offensive line is in a shambles. And speaks kind of, I guess, in a way, speaking of shambles, right? I mean, just this might also kind of possibly maybe be by design a little bit. Well, let me talk about that just a second here. But Unfortunately, Newman's season's over. That guy's going on IR. It's a shame. But there's almost 20 guys, 20 players on the injury report. It's like, holy cow. I mean, but, I'm kind of wondering, kind of thinking maybe, and this is a holy cow. This is a laundry list right here. But I'm also kind of thinking it's like, are we tanking without tanking? Everybody, all the starters are all injured. They're all on the report. Everybody, are we tanking? Why do we have 3,492 guys on the injury list? Pretty into this thing. So I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's some guys who are thinking of it or have done in the past. Maybe not on the Giants this year, but when you're on a 2-win team, some teams kind of throw the towel in, or not. Some of the players kind of throw the towel in, or they make their business decisions and all that stuff and everything. Some guys, right? Obviously some guys just want to go out there and play, earn their money and everything like that. But it's also kind of interesting. I mean, this is just like, it's unbelievable. It's like we had our bye week and we're supposed to come back maybe a little healthy, but it just seems like every week after, it's just like there's more and more injuries. It's like, what is going on? I mean, let's see, what's this in here? Okay, here. I mean, Giants injury report swells with nearly 20 players listed, and that's not even including the guys that obviously they're putting on injury reserve, right? The IR, like poor Newman, right? The New York Giants took the field on Thursday for their second of 3 practices ahead of Week 15 game against the Ravens at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford. Beforehand, head coach Brian Daboll updated the status of several injured players, including positive news regarding offensive tackle Evan Neal and cornerback Deonte Banks, each of whom has a chance to play on Sunday. Oh, there you go. Daboll also revealed that, unfortunately, Tyler Newman, who was placed on season-ending injury reserve on Wednesday, will probably undergo surgery on his injured ankle. Absolutely, it's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. The Giants' full Thursday injury report can be found below. All right, so that this is what they had. Guys who did not participate in practice. Drew Lock, he's got an elbow and a heel, and I guess he was walking in a walking boot. Andrew Phillips, once he had his shoulder. I mean, that poor guy. I mean, what a very good rookie season he's had, right? Bobby Okereke with a back. John Runyon Jr. with an ankle. I believe he was kind of possibly like maybe week to week, possibly. So I mean, Runyon's might be over. His season could be over too. And it's just kind of funny because I don't think he missed any games at all in the past. I don't, whatever. Let me say. Let me look at John Runyon Jr. here. I can talk like him up here real fast. Runyon. Okay, all right. Runyon Jr. I've got Pro Football. Here we go. Pro Football Reference. There we go. All right. So let's see. So he has. Okay, so in 2020, he played for the Packers. He played 16 games. He didn't start, but he played in every game. 2021, he played in all 17 games. He started 16 of them, but he played in every game. 2022, all 17 games, 17 starts, 17 games. 2023, 17 starts, 17 games, 17. Didn't miss any time at all. Played in every mother game. Comes to the Giants, injured. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. So it looks like he started 13, played in the first 13. Good pickup. Obviously we can go on for years and years and years. Should we have gave the some of the money we had and the $10 million we gave to Runyon and gave that to Saquon, right? Or should we get Runyon, or we can go on for years debating on that one. But it's interesting, right? Runyon plays, and then I'm not saying, but he plays in Green Bay on grass. He doesn't miss a game. Comes here to the Giants on carpet, misses games. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely just unbelievable. I mean, this is every year. Absolutely unbelievable. And I don't care what you say. I don't care. I don't give a rat's rear end what the data says. Oh, we took data. Oh, yeah, no, the lower extremities, they're only 0.25% more on carpet than they are on grass. So it's very negligible. So it's almost the same amount. Dude, I don't give a rat's mother. What is that? I know. Listen to stories and players talking and all. They like grass. They like grass. Grass is less wear and tear on the body, right? And we have turf, right? And I know Mr. Maris says also that obviously, basically in the Northeast, a professional game is being played every week, right? At the stadium. Pretty much, there's one week it's the Jets, next week it's the Giants, one week, or sometimes, which is even worse, is when you got the Giants maybe playing Sunday and then the Jets play Monday night at the stadium. So that chews the grass up. I get it; it's not easy and all that and everything. And possibly, if there was just one team in the stadium, they might have grass. But they tried this back in 2000 to 2002, I think it was, or 2000. I know it was 2000. It was the year they went to the Super Bowl against the Ravens. That's when they went the Giant Stadium. They went from turf to grass. So it was 2000 to 2002 or 2000 to 2003. One of those that they went to grass, but the grass, it was just always just chewed up. Like they'd be running and big chunks of grass would go flying. I mean, a lot of it was because multiple teams played there. But I mean, you look at like Green Bay, you look at Chicago, you look at the Eagles, Washington. There's a lot of teams in the Northeast here, or the Northeast, and all of that. That play on grass. But they only have one team there. That makes it quite possibly maybe very difficult with the Giants and the Jets playing there. But I mean, it's just. I mean, nothing could kill your season faster than injuries, and it's just absolutely crazy, absolutely crazy. Let me okay, here we go. So let me go finish going over the rest of the guys who were limited in practice. Deonte Banks with a rib, of course. Something like that. I mean. A rib is, it's not like a turf-related injury, but so he's had a rib. A Cordell Flott with a quad and a knee, right? A knee can certainly be, turf-related. I mean, even just listen, it doesn't matter what kind of turf it is. It's just, a lot of guys running around on the turf. It feels different on their body than running around on grass. Jermaine Illuminor with a quad, Chris Hubbard with a knee. I mean, it's like we got obviously Andrew Thomas is out, right? Illuminor's out. We've had with Neal being injured, right? Zudu, he's injured. Hubbard's injured. What are we like on our fifth and sixth tackles? I mean, It's like, there's no team out there is going to be on their fifth and sixth tackles and go to it's just not happening. I mean, you can go like any team, right? Go to the Eagles, go to the, especially the Chiefs, right? Get Patrick Mahomes, right? Take away his 2 starting tackles, put backups in there, get rid of those guys, put 2 more guys in there, okay? Get rid of Runyon the guard. Lose their tight end Kelsey. He's gone, right? And go win a Super Bowl. So it's not happening. Sorry. Do the same thing with the Eagles, right? Lose their 2 tackles, lose them, and then put their backups in it. Lose those guys. Put your 5th and 6th tackle. Lose Goddard, your tight end. I mean, they're not going to the Super Bowl. Not happening. All right, so we got to see. Azudo, he had a knee. Bryce Ford Wheaton with his shoulder. Malik Neighbors with his hip. Right, he's had the hip, and he also was dealing with the groin as well too. Jordan Riley with the knee. Michael Schmitz with the neck. Austin Schlottman, right, his fibula, and Evan Neal with a hip and an ankle. So unfortunately, his problem once again with his feet and ankle or whatever seems to be popping back up. Full participant though was Deontay Johnson with an ankle and Art Green with a quad, right? But guys who did not participate or who were limited in practice was I got Locke, Phillips, Karake, Runyon, a Nacho. He has a stinger in his neck. Right, so there's 5 guys who did not participate. Then you got limited was Banks, Flott, Illuminor, Hubbard, Belton, Azudu, Bryce Ford Wheaton, Malik Neighbors, Jordan Riley, Michael Schmitz, Austin Schlottman, Evan Neal, and then of course they put Ty Newbin on injured reserve. So that's 18 guys. 18 guys. I get it. Obviously, as the season goes along, obviously, you get more and more banged up, more and more injured. Yeah, I get, but it's just crazy, absolutely crazy. Yeah, but I'm of course saying is that I'm kind of wondering, some of these, they're just bringing guys in maybe to try, as the backups to see, if they're worth their weight in gold or if they're worth their weight, maybe bringing them back the following season or whatever. But, I wonder if, once again, are they kind of tanking without tanking or, so. Well, I'll tell you, injuries, absolutely. It's absolutely unbelievable. I mean, it's a real shame. They say Tyler Newbin here, right? Promising rookie safety on season-ending IR. The Giants' injury reserve list is getting more and more crowded. I mean, it's just 2024 season is over for Tyler Newbin, one of the promising rookies the Giants hope help build them a better future. Newbin, the Giants' second-round pick in the draft, was placed on injury reserve on Wednesday with an ankle injury suffered Sunday against the Saints. Giants signed cornerback Devad Wilson off the Cardinals practice squad to fill Newbin's spot. I mean, the loss of Newbin is the latest blow to an injury-ravaged Giants team that's 2-11 and has lost 8 straight games. Left tackle Andrew Thomas, Theo Johnson, Dexter Lawrence, Azeez Ojulari, Trey Hawkins, Armand Watts are among Giant players on injury reserve, many of them placed there within the last couple of weeks. Newbin has started every game for the Giants this season and leads the team in tackles with 97. That is also tops among rookies. Giants also announced on Wednesday that starting quarterback Drew Lock has a heel and obviously an elbow injuries, is in a walking boot and will be replaced by Tommy DeVito. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. I mean, unfortunately, nothing can short circuit your season faster than injuries, and it's just once again another season down the tubes for the New York Giants. Obviously, part of it, most right, obviously because of their play, but also a lot of it too is that these injuries just absolutely just unbelievable. They just unbelievable. But I did see this kind of thing. This kind of, I mean, I don't know. Somebody's making a guarantee. We got a Joe Namath out there. So there's somebody who I think is associated with the U. I guess it is. Guarantees. He said they're guaranteed they're going to take Ward in the upcoming draft. Absolutely stone cold guaranteed going to take Ward in the upcoming draft. And not only that, but his offensive coordinator is coming too. So it's going to be like a package deal. We're going to get Ward and their offensive coordinator. So I'm kind of a little, so we'll have to wait and see. Let's see. Here we go. All right, here we go. So a former booster guaranteed the Giants will draft Miami star quarterback and hire a new offensive coordinator. So the Giants will be on the search for their next franchise quarterback in the upcoming offseason and finally moving on from 6-year starter Daniel Jones. Among the popular names for the Giants to select as their next signal caller is projected first-round pick Cam Ward. The Miami quarterback is a shot in the draft, shot up the draft boards after a wildly successful 2024 season and could become a top target for the G-men in April's draft. Former Miami booster guarantees that the Giants will draft Cam Ward. The buzz surrounding Ward to New York picked up steam this week after infamous former Miami booster Nevin Shapiro guaranteed Ward and Miami offensive coordinator Shannon Dawson will both end up with the Giants this offseason. Interesting. And the offensive coordinator. I'm being told through reliable sources Cam Ward is going to the New York Giants. Guaranteed. Shapiro said on the Adam Pac-Man Jones show. And the University of Miami's offensive coordinator is going with him, who is Shannon Dawson. When questioned about the credibility of his sources, Shapiro told Jones, "Holler at me on April 25th or 26th, whenever the draft is." Wow, that's putting it out there. Let me tell you what. Among the reasons Shapiro gave for his confidence in Ward ending up with the Giants is his coinciding confidence that Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders will not agree to play for them due to his father Deion Sanders' preferences. Deion won't let his kid go to the Giants, Shapiro said. He wants him on the Raiders. I have no idea why. That's been a SHIT show for a long time. No idea why he wants him to go to Raiders. I mean, it's been an absolute toilet there. Now, maybe it's been a toilet there this year because maybe they don't have their quarterback. And if they had a quarterback, maybe, with Pierce there and the quarterback, I don't know. I have no idea. But I mean, that's been a toilet bowl for the longest time, the Raiders. So I have no idea why he would. I can maybe see him, obviously, where Papa Prime doesn't want his son going to the Giants. I can understand it. I can see that, and but I don't know why. He's picking the Raiders over the Giants. I mean, Davis. I mean that's a SHIT show. I mean, that's just. I don't know why you want him going there. I mean, but it's all you only have so many choices, right? I mean, you can't say, "Well, I don't want my son going to the Giants. I don't want him going to the Raiders. I don't want him going to here. I don't want." There's 27 teams I don't want him. There's only 5 teams I want him. So I guess what he's looking at maybe if this is it, if this is true, right, is that he's looking at maybe the worst of two evils. I guess he thinks the Giants is worse than, I don't know, than going to the Raiders. But the Raiders, I mean, is that a stable organization? I mean, hasn't been for a while. I mean, the last Super Bowl win was 83. I mean, they did go to Super Bowl in 2002, right? But I mean, it's been over 40 years since the Raiders have won a Super Bowl. I mean, they've don't get me wrong, they've had some good players, they've had some good teams since then. Don't get me wrong, but they haven't been to a Super Bowl in over 20 years. And I mean, with Davis's son now running I don't know. I don't know why he wants them to be a Raider than a Giant, but as I said, I can see where maybe he wouldn't want his son coming with the Giants. It just is what it is. But I mean, to be guaranteeing, right? Ward would be a thrilling selection for the G-men near the top of the draft. After transferring from Washington State, Ward exploded this season from Miami. throwing for 4,123 yards and a nation-leading 36 touchdowns and only 7 interceptions, and an ACC best 171 passer rating. He has a strong arm and poise in the pocket that would pair well with the Giants' star wide receiver Malik Nabers. Says, is Nevin Shapiro a reliable source? While at one point Shapiro was a major booster for the University of Miami, that was many years ago, prior to him serving 20 years in prison for a $930 million Ponzi scheme and allegedly violating NCAA rules for years as a University of Miami booster. He certainly had connections to those within the Miami football program at one point, but whether or not he still does is questionable. Although Shapiro may have some serious connections with those in the football industry, his words should be taken with a grain of salt. It is highly unlikely the Giants have already made up their minds about who they are drafting 5 months from now, especially considering there is no guarantee that they will still have the same front office and coaching staff intact. Decisions will soon be made regarding the future of the New York's regime, and those decisions should help provide clarity on which direction the Giants will go at the quarterback and offensive coordinator. Then it says here, will Shannon Dawson be a strong offensive coordinator candidate? Perhaps even more intriguing aspect of this rumor is the indication that the Giants are interested in hiring Miami offensive coordinator Shannon Dawson to fill the same position in New York. Dawson has been coaching at the collegiate level as an assistant since 2002. He has never coached in the NFL, but has been an offensive coordinator at several different major programs, including West Virginia, Kentucky, Southern Miss, Houston, and Miami. So he's been around. Ward thrived under Dawson this season. Under Dawson's leadership, Miami's offense led the ACC with 538 total yards of offense, 44.2 points per game. His unit posted historic numbers this season while leading the program to a 10-2 record. Current Giants offensive coordinator Mike Kafka, I mean, it's just a matter of time before Mike is gone, right, has been a top candidate for head coaching jobs around the league over the last 2 years. He could land a job this offseason or be relieved of his duties altogether after having his play calling duties stripped and taken over by head coach Brian Daboll this season. With Kafka likely on the way out, the offensive coordinator position will need to be addressed, and Dawson could be a top candidate, especially if the Giants plan to draft Ward as their next franchise quarterback. So it'd be interesting to say. But I mean, as I said, as far as that guy with Shapiro, I mean, that's a pretty kind of gutsy announcement there, right? I mean, right? He's definitely guaranteed going to the Giants and the offensive coordinator. So interesting to say. But I mean, as far as well, Ward's a possibility. That's for sure. It's just interesting to see if the Giants do get the number 1 pick. Very interesting if they do get the number 1 pick. And say if they like Sanders, do they go after him? Yeah. And maybe Papa Prime starts throwing a hissy fit, and then the Giants maybe have to make a trade with the Raiders, but maybe they do an Eli kind of Phillip Rivers kind of thing, where they trade Sanders to the Raiders, and they get Ward, and they get another couple draft picks. Interesting. We will have to wait and see, but obviously that's not for another 4 months here. So, but then I saw this was kind of funny. Just kind of gives you a little insight. Kind of shows you kind of like what's inside sometimes of somebody's contract. So, how come Eli never took the subway? I think he said he just recently taken the subway. I guess it was maybe within the past maybe 2 weeks or so. I think he said he took his first subway ride and had nothing to do basically with not wanting to be around the public or being seen in public or anything like that. But stuff they put in guys' contracts. I mean, like it says in his articles that some people they put in their contracts. It's like they forbid them to do certain things which could hinder or cause an injury or something like that and prevent them from playing football. It's in certain, you know, some of the contracts. That is interesting. He says Eli Manning explains why the Giants never let him take the subway. He said it was in my contract. Manning shared on social media last week that he took his very first subway ride. Eli Manning stunned Giants fans last week when he revealed he had only just now taken his very first subway ride despite spending his entire 16-year NFL career playing in New York. On Monday night, the Giants great had a pretty good reason why he never opted for that form of transportation. During Monday night's broadcast on the Manningcast, Hall of Fame quarterback Peyton Manning began teasing his brother about the fact that he'd never braved the subways despite his tenure in New York. And it wasn't that. It wasn't like he was afraid to take the subway, or he was antisocial or this or that or whatever like that. It was written in his contract, I guess. It says, Eli, this was very shocking to me. I thought you were a man of the people, he quipped. You lived there since 2004. First time riding the subway? Oh, what's up, buddy? And his brother said, I'm disappointed. Eli first pointed out that obvious that despite the name, the Giants play at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. I'm a man of the people. I live in New Jersey. I'm not in the city that often. I was in the city last week. I had to get from uptown to downtown. I hopped on the subway. I'm a man of the people. He also pointed out that it was a business decision. It was in my contract when I was playing. I wasn't allowed to ride the subway. I could get pushed in front of a train. Like crazy, but NFL contracts sometimes bar players from participating in activities outside of football that could risk injury. According to an ESPN report from June, those activities range from high risk, like rock climbing and skiing, to other sports like playing basketball. Oh, what's up, bud? Is that it? No, that's it. That's the end of the article. Oh, Oh, okay. In 2023, former Buffalo Bills running back Nyheim Hines was injured during the offseason in a freak jet ski accident. He missed the entire season after he tore his left ACL and MCL, and the Bills were off the hook for his contract, according to ESPN. They eventually reached an agreement, and he was released in March. So I guess, they reached some kind of an agreement, and gave him something, but then they wound up releasing him. But I mean, it's also kind of the one thing, not that with obviously Xavier McKinney, right, when he wound up hurting his hand, I believe it was in Cabo, I think it was. Something like that. Now, obviously, you can't, forbid, we don't want you going on a scooter. We don't want you going on a jet ski and a motorcycle and a bicycle and this and that. You can't ride the car, can't walk, can't jog, But, I mean, certain things like that. I mean, I think they could have taken money out of his contract, but they didn't do that. Right? He missed some time. He came back, and apparently, I guess they could have disciplined him or something like that. But apparently, from what I understand, anyway, from what I understand, I could be wrong, but they didn't discipline him, and they didn't take any money, out of his salary at all or anything like that. So, but I mean, it's that's contracts, and as I said, but also what Eli was saying is that there's not many the subway in New York. I mean, now there is a subway that goes now. We took a train. I mean, my son and I, we took a train. You can take a train here from like right like South Jersey, and wind up in New York. But as far as like a subway or anything like that, I mean, there's, that's not around here in New Jersey a lot. So a lot of that's kind of like in, obviously the underground in New York, right? And it's not New Jersey, so he wasn't in New York a lot. So there's no need for him to take a subway if you're not in New York. He's obviously spending most of his time in New Jersey. There's no need to take a subway. But it just guys interesting to see or to hear that, he can get pushed. I don't know if he was joking or whatever, but it was in his contract. He was not allowed to ride a subway. So, not allowed to ride a subway. That meant once he got here in 2004, couldn't do it. Right? All right. And then finally, I saw this here. We got a couple stars on our hands here. Got two Giant rookies on a historic pace, which is nice to see. Because this is something that's really, really going to, help the Giants big time, right? Trying to turn the season around, right? And going forward here, obviously this draft coming up, this is going to wind up being huge. This is really, really huge. We had a nice draft, really look nice, solid draft, right? Tracy is, obviously, he had a couple real good games and all that, but obviously the past few games. But I said, look at our offensive line. I said, who's on the offensive? We had the other week we had Schmitz, right? He was out, had Slide Van Roten in there. Runyon was injured. We had our 37th string tackles on both sides. The center got injured, had to slide a guard over to him. The other guard, Runyon, he was injured. Then we had to put somebody else. It's unbelievable. You wonder why the quarterbacks are getting hurt. You wonder why we can't run the ball. It's unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable why we can't stay healthy every year, every freaking year, while other teams, have far fewer injuries than the Giants. It's not even close, some of these teams. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. But a couple of these, obviously we know one of them is good old Malik. But I said this here is going to be, a very, give us another good draft because, as I said, right? If we got a good offensive line, we've seen what Tracy can do, right? He can be our starting running back. I'm not saying he's going to be Henry. I'm not saying he's Saquon. Some of the upper echelons, but the guy can be okay. I would like to see us maybe replace Gray, because if Gray's our third stringer, okay, but the guy can't return kicks. He can't return punts. It's like. So maybe we can get another nice running back. We got Tracy in the 5th round. We get another guy like Tracy in the 4th or 5th round, right? We have Singletary, another running back, and Tracy. Okay, right? But the draft we just had, obviously with Malik and Phillips and Newman and Theo Johnson and Tracy, it was Sal, right? He had 8 tackles, right? And on defense, and then he obviously always contributes on special teams, and he's healthy, right? So it was a very, very, and we only had 6 picks. Very good draft. But quite possibly this season here, possibly coming up, we might get a compensatory pick, maybe in the 4th round, right? So we can get a 1st, a 2nd, a 3rd, maybe 2 fourths. So you're looking at, especially if we're picking like 1st or 2nd. So you figure our 4th round pick, we might have 5 picks in the top 100. Well, the compensatory pick would be a back of the 4th. But you figure our first 4 picks could be picks in the top 100. Right? 4 to top 100, I said, and then I said we pick up another Tracy in the 5th round, something like that, right? Add another 4 so pieces to the puzzle here. And then we should have some money to spend too. We can bring in maybe a couple good free agents to help. So this is a big, they're all big. Don't get me wrong. It's not like any one who's bigger than the other, but it's a big offseason here for the Giants. But there's some holes, there's some chinks in the armor to maybe Shane's first couple draft classes, but there's no doubt this one right here really. The 2024 draft class for Shane really, really did good, right? Really did good. But once again, this is going to be a huge one coming up here. Huge one. He's going to have to knock it out of the park again. So 2 New York Giant rookies are on a historic pace. Malik Neighbors and Tyrone Tracy are players to feel good about. Well, I said all of them. I mean, I said, you freaking look at Theo Johnson, right? I mean, I don't know what the rookie record is for receiving tight ends. I forgot what Tucker had in 70. I can't remember what Bavaro had. I don't remember. But, he went up with 29 receptions. He missed them. He's going to miss the last 5 games or so, or whatever it is of the season, right? And the first 4 games of the season, he only had 3 receptions, right? So he wasn't used at all in the first 4 games, right? But he came on. I mean, if he played the rest of the season, he was on his way to catching 40, 45 passes, which is not bad. Not bad at all. And I said, Newbin was leading the team in tackles. Phillips, of course, he got injured, unfortunately. I mean, he seems like the real deal. I mean, really good pick there. So, I mean, there's a lot of good picks here in this draft to really feel good about. You add these players, these top 5 players to the rest of the roster here. Once again, I hate, I don't want to sound too optimistic, but we got some players. We certainly got some players. But I said this offseason is going to be huge. And obviously, one of them is also, getting a quarterback. Now, whether it's somebody in the draft or whether it's getting a bridge quarterback, right? Because, I mean, if we want to pass on a quarterback at the top and say we take like Milroe in the second round or one of those other guys in the second round or something like that or whatever, we take like Hunter. Now, imagine, because he's like, a lot of people say he's like the best athlete in the draft. Imagine pairing Hunter with Malik Neighbors. Ooh, that could be scary. That could be really scary. Oh, there you go. Winning begins with it. Yep. And you can't get a win. It's tough to get a winning attitude if you ain't winning football games. Let me tell you what, boy. It's tough to have a winning attitude with the Giants. That's some tough stuff, man. So just to find out this article here, I said, if you're looking for bright spots in a miserable 2-11 season for the Giants, one has to be the production of rookies Malik Neighbors and Tyrone Tracy. I said, Theo Johnson, Newbin, and Phillips. I mean, those guys did a very good job. Neighbors, the wide receiver, drafted number 6 overall to be the team's number 1 receiving option, and Tracy drafted in the 5th round to try and replace some of the production lost by Saquon, right? Have had excellent rookie seasons. Neighbors leads the Giants with 80 catches, 819 yards, and 3 touchdown receptions. Now, he's trying his final 4 games, obviously, was at 181 yards he needs in 4 games. He needs 45 yards a game, the average, in the final to get 1,000 yards. I mean, he's on pace. If he can catch 5 catches a game, what's possible, that would give him 100 receptions for maybe 1,000 yards. That would be a phenomenal rookie season for him. With this dumpster fire of an offense, man. Tracy's first on the team with 141 rushing attempts, 664 yards, and 5 scores, despite getting only 12 carries over the season's first 4 games. The Giants are the first NFL team to have rookies lead in all of those statistical categories since 2014, when Giants rookies Odell Beckham, Andre Williams accomplished that feat. Beckham topped the Giants that season with 91 catches for 1,305 yards and 12 touchdowns, all franchise rookie records. He did that despite missing the first 4 games with a hamstring injury. I remember that. Yeah. Williams, a 4th-round draft choice from Boston College, had team-leading totals of 217 carries, 721 yards, and 7 rushing touchdowns. The Giants are averaging an NFL worst 14.9 points per game, and despite their production, is likely true that they have not gotten as much out of Neighbors and Tracy as they're both capable. Oh, absolutely not. Neighbors scored 35 passes in the first 4 games, twice reaching double-digit receptions. He has only 45 receptions in the last 7 games. In those first 4 games, he had 200-yard receiving games. His highest total since was the 79 receiving yards he had against the Saints. Tracy had 300-yard games in his first 6 as the Giants' primary ball carrier, but it's just 119 yards on 34 carries in the last 3 games. Both, though, are building blocks to be excited about. Well, once again, I mean, yeah, I said you look at with Tracy. I mean, that's a great yards catch too. Yeah. Yep. But you look at the last 3 weeks. I mean, he hasn't gotten a lot of yards, obviously. But I said, look at the offensive line, right? We had Jones in there, then we had DeVito in there, then we have Locke in there. Now we got Tommy DeVito going back in. It's like it's like rotating quarterbacks in there. I said the offensive line, Illuminor and Thomas. Boom, gone. Then you put, you got what, Hubbard in or Neal in there or Zudu in there. It's they're constantly rotating in and out due to injuries and all. It's like, I said, now Runyon's out. He may not be in there. I said, Michael Schmitz got hurt. He had to come out of the game. We had to slide Van Roten over here to say, it's like, it's unbelievable. I mean, right? The offensive line, quarterbacks, it's and you're averaging under 15 points per game. You don't have the ball that long. When you do have the ball, a lot of times it's 3 and out. I mean, you start going back and you start looking at a lot of the drives the Giants have had over the past couple weeks. It's like 3 plays, 4 plays, 3 plays. It's like, I mean, it was this past week when they against the Saints. I mean, they had the ball like around midfield. Was it 4 times or so? Right around, they started, and they got I think 3 points out of it. I mean, they just can't move the ball. Some of that, obviously, I said, is a quarterback, but a lot of it's the offensive line. These quarterbacks are getting injured, right? They're getting pummeled. They're running for their lives. They're getting hit, constantly getting hit. The offensive line, the guys that are in there, maybe, obviously, they're trying, but they're not, they haven't played together. You need you got guys, gotta get guys in there who've been played together, which really, really helps. And it's just not happening. You got guys coming off of practice squads going in there, and it's just, you just hope and pray that maybe next season, when next season rolls around, we can start the season healthy and we can stay relatively healthy. Just as I've said this a trillion times, nothing cuts your season shorter faster than injuries. And once again, the New York Giants are right at the top. I'm not sure how many games have been lost due to injury. I used to have a subscription to maingameslost.com and to show you, but that was like a yearly subscription. And I had it for 1 year. I think I had it 2 years ago. I haven't had it in a couple of years, but I remember the 1 year I had it. I mean, the Giants were just way up there as far as injuries. I mean, just amazing how many games were lost due to injuries. And just totally wipes the Giants seasons out almost every year. Maybe one of these years, the New York Football Giants will actually have injuries happen to every team, of course. But I mean, to have somebody get injured, but then have them come back a week or 2 later or something. I mean, the Giants seem to get these injuries, and the guys going on IR. It just. Once again, another reason why the Giants are a laughing stock of the league. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. All right, guys, been 1 hour and 23 minutes. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. If anybody's going to spend any time watching the replay this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. Thank you. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.